The massive space station floated in the darkness between stars. It was bigger than most cities, with silver walls that gleamed under the light of distant suns. Inside its great meeting hall, hundreds of different creatures sat in rows of seats. Some had scales, others had fur, and a few looked like walking crystals. They all came from different worlds across the galaxy. Ambassador Kixtal stood at the front of the hall. His blue skin shimmered as he looked down at his datapad. The Zentorian had been running these meetings for over 50 years now. His job was simple: make sure everyone showed up and keep the peace between the different species. Meeting number 247 is now starting, Kixtal announced. His voice echoed through the hall. Let me check who is here today. He began reading names from his list. Draconian Empire, present. Aquarian Coalition, present. Crystal Collective, present. The list went on and on. Each time he called a name, someone would raise a hand or make a noise to show they were there. Near the end of his list, Kixtal stopped. He looked at one empty chair that had been empty for as long as anyone could remember. Earth Sector 7 Alpha, he called out. Silence, no one answered. The chair stayed empty. High Commander Veltar shifted in his seat. The big reptilian creature had sharp teeth and golden eyes. He came from the Draconian Empire, a group of worlds known for their strong military. Veltar had been asking the same question for decades. Why do we keep calling them? Veltar asked. His deep voice rumbled through the hall. These humans have never answered. Not once in 247 meetings. Other voices joined in. A creature with tentacles waved them in the air. Maybe they are all dead, it suggested. Their star could have exploded. Or maybe they never learned to travel between stars, said another voice. This came from a being made of living metal. Some species take longer to develop the technology. Kixtal held up his hand for quiet. We have rules, he said. Every known intelligent species gets invited. The humans are intelligent. We know this from our early scans of their world many years ago. Far away from the meeting, on a small blue planet, Dr. Yuna Kim worked in her laboratory. She did not know about the galactic meeting happening light years away. She had more important things to worry about. On her desk were plans for a new type of engine that could make spaceships travel faster than light. Yuna had short black hair and wore a white lab coat covered in stains from her experiments. She had been working on this project for 10 years. The engine design was finally ready for testing. If it worked, humans would be able to travel to other star systems in days instead of centuries. Dr. Kim, a voice called from behind her. She turned to see Captain Tejo Park walking into her lab. The military officer was tall and serious-looking. He always wore his dark blue uniform perfectly pressed and clean. Captain Park, Yuna said with a smile. Good timing. I think we are ready to test the new engine. Tejo nodded, but his face stayed serious. That is good news. But I came to talk about something else. We received another message from space today. The same kind we have been getting for decades. Yuna frowned. She knew about the messages. They came from somewhere far away in space. The messages were invitations to something called a Galactic Council. Earth's leaders had decided long ago to ignore these invitations. They wanted to keep Earth's existence secret from the rest of the galaxy. What did this message say? Yuna asked. The same thing as always, Tejo replied. They want us to send someone to their meeting. They say it is for peace and cooperation between different worlds. Yuna turned back to her work. And our government still wants us to stay hidden? Yes, Tejo said. The president thinks it is safer this way. We do not know if these alien species are friendly or dangerous. It is better to learn about them first before we reveal ourselves. What Yuna and Tejo did not know was that Earth had been learning about the galaxy for 50 years. In secret underground bases, other scientists and soldiers worked on projects that would have amazed them. Earth was not as helpless as the Galactic Council thought. Back at the space station, the meeting continued. The different species argued about trade routes and mining rights. Some species complained that others were taking too much from shared resources. It was the same arguments they had every time they met. Kixtal tried to keep order, but it was difficult. The Draconians wanted to expand their territory. The Aquarians wanted better protection for their trade ships. The Crystal Collective wanted everyone to share technology freely. Each group wanted different things, and none of them wanted to give up anything. This is why we need the humans, muttered Counselor Zephyria. The blue-skinned Aquarian was one of the few species that actually cared about peace. Fresh ideas might help us solve these old problems. High Commander Veltar heard her and laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. What could humans offer us? They cannot even build ships to travel between stars. If they could, they would have answered our invitations by now. Maybe they are afraid, suggested another council member. Some species hide when they first learn about the galaxy. It can be overwhelming to discover you are not alone. Or maybe they think they are too good for us. Veltar growled. Some species believe they are superior to others. They refuse to cooperate until they have no choice. Kixtal looked at the empty chair again. In all his years of running these meetings, Earth's silence bothered him more than any other problem. Every other species had at least tried to communicate. Even the most hostile species had sent threatening messages before starting wars. But Earth sent nothing at all. I am ordering another probe mission to the Sol system, Kixtal announced. We need to know what happened to the humans. Are they alive? Are they advanced? Are they a threat? The hall went quiet. Sending probes to investigate silent species was serious business. It meant the Council was officially concerned about Earth. I volunteer the Draconian fleet for this mission, Veltar said immediately. If the humans are hiding something dangerous, we should be ready for a fight. No, Kixtal replied firmly. This will be a peaceful investigation. 3 ships only. Scientific equipment, not weapons. As the meeting ended and the different species returned to their ships, none of them knew the truth. Earth was not dead. Earth was not primitive. Earth was not afraid. Earth was watching. Earth was learning. And Earth was preparing. On the blue planet, Dr. Yuna Kim finished her work for the day. Tomorrow, she would test her new engine design. If it worked, humanity would soon be ready to travel among the stars. But they would not go as helpless explorers begging for acceptance. When Earth finally revealed itself to the galaxy, it would be on humanity's own terms. Deep beneath the mountains of Colorado, Director So-Jin Lee walked through corridors that officially did not exist. The underground facility stretched for miles in every direction. Thousands of people worked here, but their families thought they had normal jobs in the city above. The Global Defense Initiative was Earth's biggest secret. So-Jin was a small woman with sharp eyes and gray hair. She had been running Earth's secret space program for 20 years. Today she was meeting with Admiral Hyun-Woo Choi, the man in charge of humanity's hidden fleet. How many ships do we have now? So-Jin asked as they walked. 1,012, Admiral Choi replied. He was older than So-Jin with a calm voice and steady hands. All of them ready for space travel. Most of them armed with our best weapons. They stopped at a large window that looked out into a huge underground hangar. Inside, workers moved around sleek silver ships that looked nothing like the rockets Earth showed to the world. These ships were built with technology that came from studying alien visitors over the past century. Dr. Min-Soo Kang joined them at the window. The chief scientist was younger than the others, but his mind was full of ideas that had helped create Earth's secret fleet. The new gravity engines are working perfectly, he reported. We can travel faster than any ship in the Galactic Council. Good, So-Jin said. We may need that speed soon. Above them, in space near Earth's moon, Lieutenant Unji Seo sat at her station aboard the hidden monitoring ship Aegis. The ship looked like a large asteroid to anyone scanning it from far away. Unji had been watching space around Earth for 3 years. Her job was to spot any alien visitors before they got too close. Contact approaching from deep space, she announced to her captain. 3 ships, unknown design, coming straight toward Earth. The captain, a man named Daewoo Song, looked at the readings. How far away? 2 days at their current speed, Unji replied. They are not trying to hide. Broadcasting identification signals that match Galactic Council codes. Captain Song nodded. This was what they had been waiting for. After decades of silence, someone was finally coming to investigate Earth. Send the alert to command. Begin tracking procedures. The 3 alien ships belonged to the Zentaurian Exploration Service. Commander Kexelar led the mission with 2 smaller scout ships following his command vessel. The Zentaurians looked like tall, thin humans with blue skin and large black eyes. They were curious by nature and made good explorers. Beginning scan of the 3rd planet, reported Science Officer Mextor from his station. Reading signs of intelligent life. Large cities, electromagnetic activity, signs of technology. Any space-based defenses? Commander Kexler asked. Negative, Mextor replied. I see some satellites, but they appear primitive. No weapons platforms detected. What the Zentaurians did not know was that Earth's real defenses were invisible to their scanners. Hundreds of hidden ships watched them approach. Advanced sensors tracked every movement of the alien vessels. "They are entering the outer solar system," Lieutenant Yunji reported from her hidden position. "Permission to intercept?" "Granted," came the reply from Admiral Choi. "But remember, we want them alive. We need information about the Galactic Council." The capture happened quickly. One moment, Commander Kexler was studying readings of Earth's moon. The next moment, his ship was surrounded by sleek vessels that had appeared from nowhere. Warning lights flashed across his control panels. "Unknown ships. Identify yourselves," he broadcast on all frequencies. "Zentorian vessels. You have entered restricted space," came the reply in perfect galactic standard language. "Power down your engines and prepare to be escorted." Kexlar was shocked. These humans knew his language. They had ships that could hide from his sensors. This was not supposed to be possible. "We come in peace," he transmitted. "We are explorers from the Galactic Council." "We know who you are," the human voice replied. "We have been expecting you." Within hours, all three Zentarian ships were docked inside a massive space station, hidden on the far side of Earth's moon. The alien crews were taken to comfortable rooms, but they were clearly prisoners. Lieutenant Yunji sat across from Commander Kexlar in a small meeting room. She had studied Zentorian culture for years, preparing for this moment. The alien explorer looked nervous but curious. "How long have you been watching the galaxy?" she asked in his own language. Kexalar's large black eyes grew wider. "You speak Zentorian perfectly. How is this possible?" "We have been listening to your communications for 50 years, Yunji replied honestly. "We know about the Galactic Council. We know about the trade agreements, the territorial disputes, the technology exchanges." "Then why have you never answered our invitations?" Kexler asked. Yunji smiled, but it was not a happy expression. "Because we learned what those meetings are really about. The strong species take advantage of the weak ones. New members are forced to give up their best technology. Their resources are divided among the older council members. Their military forces are limited." "That is not true," Kexler protested. "The council exists for mutual cooperation." "Really?" Yunji asked. She activated a holographic display that showed recordings of past council meetings. "Watch these discussions about the Aquarian trade routes. Notice how the Draconians demanded access to Aquarian space in exchange for protection. Watch this debate about crystal collective mining rights. See how they were forced to share their crystal-growing technology." Kexler watched the recordings with growing concern. He had attended some of these meetings, but he had never noticed the patterns that the human was showing him. When viewed together, the meetings did show stronger species pressuring weaker ones. "The Council maintains peace," he said weakly. "The Council maintains control," Yunji corrected. "Peace through domination is not real peace." Over the next several days, Dr. Min-Soo Kang showed the Zentorian prisoners around the hidden facilities. He wanted them to understand exactly what humanity had accomplished in secret. "This is our main construction facility," he explained as they walked through a hangar filled with ships. "We can build a new vessel every 3 days." "How many do you have?" Science Officer Mextor asked. "Enough," Dr. Kang replied simply. "Our weapons use principles that your scientists have not discovered yet. Our ships can repair themselves using materials from space debris. Our crews train in combat simulations based on studying every major space battle in galactic history." Commander Kexlar felt a chill run through his blue-skinned body. "You have been preparing for war." "We have been preparing for independence," Dr. Kang corrected. "There is a difference." Back on the surface, Director So-Jin Lee met with Admiral Choi in her office. Through the window, they could see normal human cities going about their daily business. Most people on Earth had no idea that their planet was about to make contact with an alien galaxy. "The prisoners have told us everything we need to know about council politics," So-Jin reported. "Their military strengths, their trade relationships, their internal conflicts." "Are we ready?" Admiral Choi asked. So-Jin looked at the reports on her desk. Earth had 1,000 ships, each more advanced than anything in the known galaxy. Earth had weapons that could disable enemy vessels without destroying them. Earth had shields that could protect entire fleets. Most importantly, Earth had a plan. "Yes," she said finally. "It is time to introduce ourselves to the galaxy." Admiral Choi stood up. "I will begin final preparations. How do you want to make our entrance?" So-Jin smiled for the first time in months. "The Galactic Council meets in 3 weeks. They will be expecting to discuss our 3 missing ships." She gestured toward the ceiling where the Zentarian prisoners were being held. "Instead, they will meet Earth. All of our ships?" "All of our ships," Sojin confirmed. "When humanity finally attends a Galactic Council meeting, we want to make sure everyone pays attention." Admiral Choi saluted and left to prepare the fleet. Soon the galaxy would learn that Earth had not been sleeping for the past 50 years. Earth had been getting ready. The 248th Galactic Council meeting began like all the others. Hundreds of different alien species gathered in the great meeting hall aboard the Council station. Ambassador Kixtal stood at his usual place, reading from his attendance list, but today felt different. There was tension in the air that everyone could feel. 3 weeks ago, a Zentarian exploration mission had disappeared near Earth's solar system. No distress signals, no wreckage found. The ships had simply vanished. High Commander Veltar shifted restlessly in his seat. The large Draconian had been arguing for military action ever since the ships went missing. His golden eyes scanned the hall looking for any sign of trouble. The missing Zentarian vessels prove that Earth is dangerous. Veltar announced when Kixtal called for new business. "We should send a battle fleet to investigate immediately." Emperor Carthon, the supreme leader of the Draconian Empire, nodded his approval. The massive reptilian ruler was even larger than Veltar, with black scales and red eyes. "The Draconian fleet is ready to move," he rumbled. "Give us permission to secure the Sol system." "Patience," Ambassador Kixtal replied. "We do not know what happened to those ships. They could have suffered equipment failure. They might have been attacked by pirates." Counselor Zephyria from the Aquarian Coalition raised one of her tentacles to speak. "The disappearance is concerning, but we should not assume the worst. Perhaps the humans finally decided to make contact and are holding our people safely. After ignoring us for decades," Veltar snarled. "If they have taken prisoners, that is an act of war." The collective Node Prime spoke in its strange multiple voice. The hive-mind creature looked like a walking crystal formation. "This unit has analyzed all available data. The probability that Earth poses a military threat is very low. Their technology appeared primitive in all previous scans." "Then where are our ships?" Emperor Carthon demanded. Before anyone could answer, alarms began sounding throughout the station. Emergency lights flashed red and automated voices announced a fleet-wide alert. Every species in the meeting hall looked around in confusion. Captain Rixton of Station Security rushed into the hall. The insectoid officer's 6 legs carried him quickly to Ambassador Kixtal's side. "Sir, you need to see this immediately," he buzzed urgently. "What is happening?" Kixtal asked. "Unknown fleet approaching the station," Captain Rixton reported. "Massive formation. More ships than we have ever seen in one place." The main viewing screen at the front of the hall activated, showing the space around the council station. At first, the assembled aliens saw only darkness and distant stars. Then the ships appeared. They came out of hyperspace in perfect formation, one after another. Sleek silver vessels that moved with precision no one had ever witnessed before. The ships were all the same design, but they came in different sizes. Some were as large as council cruisers, others were massive dreadnoughts bigger than anything in the known galaxy. "Count them," Emperor Carthon ordered. Captain Rixton's mandibles clicked nervously as he read from his instruments. 500, 600, 800. He paused, checking his readings again. "Sir, I count 1,000 ships, all unknown design, all in perfect formation." The meeting hall fell completely silent. 1,000 ships was more than the entire Draconian battle fleet. It was more ships than most species had ever built in their entire history. And they all belonged to someone who had never attended a council meeting. "Are they hostile?" Veltar asked, already reaching for his weapon. "Negative," Captain Rixton replied. "They are maintaining defensive positions at the edge of the system." "No weapons are targeting our station." "Who are they?" Kixtal demanded. The answer came as a transmission broadcast on all frequencies. The voice was calm, professional, and speaking perfect galactic standard. "Galactic Council Station, this is Admiral Hyunwoo Choi of the Earth Defense. Fleet, we request immediate permission to address the Council." Every being in the hall stared at the empty chair that had represented Earth for so many decades. The humans had finally answered their invitations. But they had not come as helpless newcomers begging for acceptance. They had come with the largest fleet anyone had ever seen. Admiral Choi stood on the bridge of the flagship Teguk. The name meant Supreme Ultimate in his native language, and the ship lived up to its name. It was 2 kilometers long and armed with weapons that could disable entire fleets without destroying them. "Admiral," reported Captain Ji-Hoon Nam from the tactical station, "all ships are in position. Battle groups Alpha through Delta are ready for any response." "Good," Admiral Choi replied. "Remember, we are here for diplomacy, but we are prepared for anything." Major Su Young-yoon, the leader of the ship's marine forces, stood near the communication station. Her job was to protect the diplomatic team once they boarded the council station. "Sir, are we sure they will allow us to dock?" "They will allow us," Admiral Choi said confidently. "They have never seen anything like our fleet. Curiosity alone will make them listen to us." On the council station, the debate had become frantic. Species that had been enemies for centuries were suddenly working together, trying to understand what Earth's arrival meant. "How did they build so many ships without us knowing?" demanded War Chief Drakmore of the savage clans. The aggressive warrior species was known for raiding weaker civilizations. More importantly, Emperor Carthon added, "How advanced is their technology?" "Those ships appeared from hyperspace with perfect coordination. That requires computing power beyond anything we possess. Collective Node Prime processed thousands of calculations per second. This unit requests permission to scan the human vessels." "Denied," Kickstal said quickly. "Scanning an unknown fleet could be seen as an act of aggression. We do not want to start a war with people who brought 1,000 warships to our meeting." "Warships?" Counselor Zephyria asked. "How do we know they are military vessels?" High Commander Veltar pointed at the viewing screen. "Look at their formation. Look at how they move together. Those are not exploration ships or cargo vessels. Those are combat craft designed for war. But they have not fired on us," Zephyria pointed out. "They are maintaining a respectful distance." "For now," Veltar growled. Ambassador Kickstal made the decision that would change galactic history. "Grant them permission to dock. A small diplomatic vessel only. The main fleet stays where it is." The response came immediately. "Understood, Council Station. Sending diplomatic shuttle with minimal escort." A single small ship detached from the human fleet. It was still larger than most Council vessels, but compared to the massive dreadnoughts waiting in formation, it looked tiny. 2 smaller ships accompanied it, clearly acting as guards. Captain Ji-Hoon Nam piloted the shuttle personally. Behind him sat Admiral Choi and Director So-Jin Lee, along with a small team of Earth's best diplomats and scientists. They were about to become the first humans to officially meet with the galactic community. "Remember," Director Lee said quietly as they approached the station, "we are not here as supplicants. We are here as equals. We offer partnership, not submission." "Understood," Admiral Choi replied. "But if they try to threaten us or make demands, then they will learn what 1,000 human warships can do." Director Lee finished. The shuttle docked without incident. As the airlock opened, Admiral Choi took a deep breath. 50 years of preparation had led to this moment. Earth's isolation was about to end, but it would end on humanity's terms. The human delegation stepped aboard the council station. Behind them, 1,000 ships waited in the darkness of space. The galaxy would never be the same. In the meeting hall, every alien species watched the main entrance. They were about to meet the mysterious humans who had ignored them for so long. They were about to discover that Earth had not been hiding from the galaxy. Earth had been preparing to change it. The great doors of the council meeting hall opened with a soft hiss. Every alien in the room turned to watch as the human delegation entered. Admiral Hyunwoo Choi walked in first, his military uniform crisp and clean. Behind him came Director So-Jin Lee and 3 other humans. They looked surprisingly ordinary. No exotic skin colors, no strange body shapes, no obvious technological implants. They appeared smaller and weaker than most species in the hall. But everyone remembered the 1,000 ships waiting outside. Ambassador Kickstal stood to greet them. His blue Zentaurian skin seemed pale as he spoke. "Welcome to the Galactic Council. I am Ambassador Kickstal, Secretary of this Assembly." "Thank you," Admiral Choi replied in perfect galactic standard. His voice was calm and respectful. "I am Admiral Hyunwoo Choi of Earth. This is Director So-Jin Lee of our Global Defense Initiative." A murmur ran through the hall. These humans spoke their language flawlessly and showed no signs of fear or nervousness. Most new species were overwhelmed by their first council meeting. "Please take your seats," Kickstal offered, gesturing toward the section that had remained empty for so long. The human delegation moved to their designated area. Admiral Choi remained standing while the others sat down. He looked around the hall, meeting the gaze of every species present. "Members of the Galactic Council," he began, "Earth has been aware of your organization for 50 years. We have listened to your communications, studied your history, and observed your interactions." High Commander Veltar could not contain himself. "If you knew about us, why did you ignore our invitations? Why did you hide like cowards?" Admiral Choi turned to face the large Draconian. His expression remained calm. "We hid nothing, Commander. We simply chose to learn before we acted. This decision has proven wise." "Explain," Emperor Carthon demanded. The massive reptilian ruler's red eyes glowed with interest. Director Sojin Lee stood up beside Admiral Choi. "We studied your council meetings for decades. We watched how new species were treated when they joined. We saw the technology transfers, the territorial concessions, the economic agreements that favored older, stronger members. Dr. Hee-Jin Cho, Earth's diplomatic science advisor, activated a holographic display. It showed data from hundreds of council sessions over the past 50 years. When the Mineral Empire joined 60 years ago, she said, they were forced to share their mining technology with all council members. Their most valuable worlds were open to foreign exploitation. The display changed to show another example. When the Plant Consortium joined 30 years ago, they had to allow other species to establish colonies in their space. Their unique agricultural methods became common property. "The pattern is clear," Admiral Choi continued. "New council members trade their independence for protection and inclusion. Earth chose a different path." War Chief Drakmor of the Savage clans laughed harshly. "So instead of joining like civilized beings, you built an army? You come here with threats and demands?" "We come here with options," Director Lee corrected. "Earth offers partnership based on mutual respect and benefit. We will not be anyone's subjects." Councillor Zephyria from the Aquarian Coalition raised a tentacle. "What exactly are you proposing?" Admiral Choi gestured and Captain Wu Jin Han stepped forward from the human delegation. The tactical officer activated another holographic display. "Earth's terms for joining the Galactic Council are simple," Captain Han announced. "First, no forced technology transfers. We will share what we choose to share, with partners we choose to work with." The display showed Earth's conditions clearly written in multiple languages. Second, no territorial concessions without mutual benefit. Earth's space remains under human control. Third, protection for developing civilizations. The Council will no longer exploit new members. Fourth, economic partnerships based on equality, not domination. The hall erupted in angry voices. Multiple species began shouting at once. "Impossible!" War Chief Drakmor roared. "New members do not make demands." "Who are you to dictate terms to us?" demanded a representative from the Trade Federation. "You have been hiding in your system for decades." Another voice shouted. "What gives you the right to change our rules?" Admiral Choi waited for the noise to die down. When it did, he spoke quietly, but his voice carried to every corner of the hall. "What gives us the right is simple," he said. "Power." Captain Wu Jin Han activated a new display. This one showed technical specifications for Earth's fleet. "Our ships use gravity well generators," he explained calmly. "We can trap entire enemy fleets in space, preventing them from using hyperspace to escape." The display changed to show weapon systems. "Our quantum torpedo arrays can bypass all known shielding technologies. They phase through armor and detonate inside target vessels." Another image appeared. "Our manufacturing ships can produce ammunition and replacement parts using raw materials from asteroid fields. We do not need supply lines. Most importantly," Captain Han concluded, "our ships can repair themselves during battle using nanotechnology. Damage that would cripple other vessels can be fixed in minutes." The silence in the hall was complete. Every species was processing what they had just learned. Earth had not just built more ships than anyone else. They had built better ships than anyone thought possible. Emperor Carthon leaned forward in his seat. As the leader of the galaxy's most powerful military force, he understood what he was seeing better than anyone else. "How many battles have you fought with these ships?" he asked. "None," Admiral Choi replied honestly. "We built them for defense, not conquest." "Then how do you know they work?" "Because we tested them against simulations of every major space battle in galactic history," Captain Han answered. "Our computers recreated the Battle of Proxima. The Siege of Kepler Station, the War of the Seven Suns. In every simulation, our technology proved superior. War Chief Drakmore stood up, his hand on his weapon. Simulations are not reality, human. Your ships have never faced real combat. That is correct, Admiral Choi agreed. But are you willing to be the first to test them? The challenge hung in the air. Everyone knew what was being asked. Did anyone want to fight 1,000 advanced ships to prove a point? Emperor Carthon was the one who answered. What do you want from us? Director Sojin Lee stepped forward again. We want what we said. Partnership, not domination. We want to explore the galaxy, trade with peaceful species, and help defend against real threats. And if we refuse your terms? Kickstel asked. Then Earth will remain independent, Admiral Choi replied. We will defend our space and our allies. We will trade with those who treat us fairly. We will ignore those who do not. You would split the galaxy, Collective Node Prime observed in its multiple voices. The galaxy is already split, Director Lee pointed out, between those who have power and those who serve them. We offer a third option. Counselor Zephyria spoke carefully. Some of us have always believed the Council needed change. Perhaps Earth's arrival is an opportunity. Change? War Chief Drakmore snarled. They want to destroy everything we have built. What you have built, Admiral Choi said firmly, is a system where strength exploits weakness. Earth rejects that system. And if others reject your system? Emperor Carthon asked. Admiral Choi looked directly at the Draconian leader. Then we will have an honest disagreement between equals. That is better than a dishonest peace between masters and servants. The hall fell quiet again. For the first time in galactic history, a new species was negotiating from a position of strength. Earth was not asking for permission to join the galaxy. Earth was announcing that they had already joined, on their own terms. The question now was whether the rest of the galaxy would accept those terms, or whether they would test humanity's 1,000 ships in battle. The choice belonged to the Council. 3 months had passed since Earth's dramatic arrival at the Galactic Council. The space around the Council station looked different now. Human ships still maintained their positions in perfect formation, but they were no longer alone. Ships from dozens of other species had joined them. Fleet Admiral Dong-hyuk Kim stood on the bridge of the flagship Taeguk, watching the mixed fleet through the main viewing screen. He had taken over fleet operations from Admiral Choi, who was now busy with diplomatic duties on the station. Status report, Admiral Kim requested. Commander Jae-sung Lee looked up from his tactical display. All ships reporting normal operations. The Aquarian trade vessels are maintaining safe distance from the Draconian patrol ships as requested. Good. Admiral Kim nodded. Any sign of trouble from the outer systems? Negative, sir. The pirate fleets that were harassing the mining colonies have retreated to the disputed zone. They seem unwilling to test our response capabilities. Inside the Council station, Ambassador Mi-young Park sat at Earth's designated seat in the Great Meeting Hall. She was humanity's first official galactic diplomat, and she had been very busy since taking the position. The meeting hall itself had changed. The old seating arrangement, which placed stronger species at the front and weaker ones at the back, had been reorganized. Now all species sat in a circle, with no one position more important than any other. Today we discuss the petition from the Coral Reef Collective, announced Ambassador Kickstal. The Zentorian secretary had adapted well to the new system. They request Council protection from raiding activities. In the old system, small species like the Coral Reef Collective would have been ignored or told to negotiate directly with their attackers. But Earth's presence had changed the rules. Earth supports the petition, Ambassador Park announced. We volunteer to provide security ships for their trade routes. The Draconian Empire also supports this petition, rumbled Emperor Carthon. The massive reptilian leader had become one of Earth's strongest supporters. Our ships will coordinate with the human fleet. This partnership had surprised everyone, including the humans themselves. But Emperor Carthon respected strength, and he had recognized that Earth's way of doing business was actually more honorable than the old council system. War Chief Drakmore of the Savage clans stood up angrily. This is madness. We cannot protect every weak species in the galaxy. Why not? Asked Counselor Zephyria. The Aquarian diplomat had become one of Earth's closest allies. We have the ships. We have the technology. The only question is whether we have the will. The will to waste resources on worthless species, Drakmore growled. The will to build something better than what we had before, Ambassador Park corrected. Every species in this galaxy has value. Every world deserves protection from predators. Chief Engineer Yejin Beck worked in the technology sharing facility that Earth had built near the Council Station. The large structure contained laboratories where human scientists worked alongside alien researchers. The new medical scanner is ready for testing, reported Dr. Hai Min An, a human doctor who specialized in alien biology. It can detect diseases in 17 different species types. Excellent, Yejin replied. The Aquarians will be very pleased. Their people have been dying from a virus that affects their respiratory systems. Earth's approach to technology sharing was different from the old Council method. Instead of forcing new members to give up their secrets, Earth freely shared medical advances and defensive technologies. They only kept weapons technology secret, and even then they shared defensive systems with trusted allies. What about the gravity shield generators? Dr. An asked. We are installing them around the Crystal Collective homeworld next week, Yejin answered. Their planet is in the path of an asteroid field. The shields will protect them without changing their environment. This kind of help had won Earth many friends among the smaller species. For the first time in galactic history, advanced technology was being used to protect the weak instead of control them. Commander Jae-Sung Lee led a joint patrol through the Kepler sector. His battle group consisted of 3 human ships, 2 Draconian cruisers, and 1 Aquarian science vessel. 6 months ago, such cooperation would have been impossible. Contact ahead, reported Lieutenant Su Jin Han from the sensor station. 5 ships, Savage Clan configuration, approaching the mining station. Are they responding to communication? Commander Lee asked. Negative. They are jamming all frequencies. Commander Lee opened a channel to the Draconian ships. Captain Torvak, are you ready? Always ready for battle, human, came the reply from the Draconian commander. His species enjoyed combat, but they preferred honorable fights against worthy opponents. Pirates were neither. Aquarian vessel, please move to safe distance, Commander Lee requested. Understood, replied Captain Melissa. We will monitor and provide medical support if needed. The engagement was brief. The pirates had expected to find weak mining ships protected only by security drones. Instead, they found advanced warships crewed by species that had once been enemies but were now allies. The pirate ships were disabled quickly, their crews captured alive. In the old days, the savage clans might have been allowed to raid weaker species as long as they paid tribute to stronger ones. Now there were consequences for preying on the innocent. Back at the Council Station, Ambassador Park was meeting with representatives from 23 different species. They all wanted the same thing, Earth's protection and partnership. We cannot protect everyone immediately, she explained patiently, but we can help you protect yourselves. How? Asked Representative Clickstor from the Fungal Gardens. His mushroom-like appearance made him look fragile, but his people were actually very intelligent. Education, Ambassador Park replied. We will teach you to build better ships, stronger shields, more effective weapons. We will help you form defense alliances with your neighbors. And what do you want in return? Asked another representative. Most species were still suspicious of offers that seemed too good to be true. Trade, Ambassador Park answered honestly. Friendship. Cooperation in exploring new regions of space. We want partners, not subjects. Chief Engineer Yejin Beck had the same conversation with dozens of species every week. Earth's approach was to make everyone stronger, not to keep others weak for easier control. Fleet Admiral Kim received reports from across the galaxy. The changes were happening everywhere. Trade routes that had been controlled by powerful species were now open to everyone. Weaker worlds were forming their own defense alliances. Pirates and raiders were finding fewer easy targets. Sir, reported Captain Wu Jin Han, we are receiving a request for assistance from the disputed zone. 3 species are asking for help resolving a territorial conflict. What kind of help? Admiral Kim asked. Mediation. They want neutral arbitrators to help them divide the system fairly. This was another change. Instead of letting stronger species take what they wanted, disputes were now being settled through negotiation. Earth ships provided security during these talks, ensuring that no one could use force to get better terms. Send Ambassador Park's diplomatic team, Admiral Kim ordered, and a squadron of ships to keep everyone honest. The 250th Galactic Council meeting was different from all the others. The Great Hall was full of species that had never dared to attend before. Small worlds that had been ignored for centuries now had voices in galactic affairs. Ambassador Kixtall looked around the crowded chamber with amazement. This meeting will now come to order. We have 47 items on today's agenda, submitted by 31 different species. In the old days, most agenda items came from the same 5 or 6 powerful civilizations. Now everyone had something to say. First item, Kixtall announced. A proposal from Earth to establish permanent peacekeeping stations in disputed regions. Ambassador Park stood to address the assembly. Earth proposes the creation of neutral stations in areas prone to conflict. These stations would be staffed by volunteers from all council species and would provide mediation services, emergency medical care, and protection for civilian ships. Emperor Carthon was the first to respond. The Draconian Empire supports this proposal. We volunteer our ships and personnel for these stations. The Aquarian Coalition also supports the proposal, announced Councillor Zephyria. We offer our medical expertise and diplomatic services. One by one, dozens of species offered their support. Even some former enemies were working together for the common good. War Chief Drakmore stood up in anger. This is not what the council was meant to be. We are warriors, not nursemaids. Then be warriors, Admiral Choi replied from his seat. He had returned to the station for this important meeting. Fight against those who prey on the innocent. Battle pirates and slavers. Defend the weak against the strong. That is not battle, Drakmore snarled. That is charity. Then perhaps, Emperor Carthon said quietly, it is time for you to learn the difference. The vote was overwhelming. The peacekeeping stations would be built, funded by voluntary contributions from member species and protected by Earth's fleet. As the meeting continued, Ambassador Park felt a deep satisfaction. Earth had not conquered the galaxy. Earth had not forced anyone to change.